So I just told a story, previous live, that I had to reset because it just wasn't working to my liking. So I had to reset because I felt as though I was being censored. And I was talking about how, 90% of the stories, the arguments, the stance that most people have on things is based on second-hand, third-hand, fifth-hand knowledge, is based on something they heard somebody else say. If they then checked into it, they have a knowledge on that regard, but for the most part, we just sort of regurgitate what we like, basically. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, a truther, whatever it is, you regurgitate what you like, and you avoid what you don't like. You know, if something has the chance of destroying your argument, you stay away from it. And I guess it's smart in some cases. But most of the things that people talk about, they talk about it because they heard someone else say it, and then they're giving you their janky telephone game version of it, and you're gonna miss out. So you might then look it up. I don't know. But Team Jorge was a different thing. Team Jorge is one of these things that, what's up, Matt? That I am very proud to say I've been exposing since it was exposed. Most people don't know anything about it. If you do know about it, it's more than likely because you heard me talking about it, because you don't really see too much talk about it anywhere. None of the truthers are talking about it. Definitely none of the mainstream media is talking about it, which is interesting, because you would think like they would be the ones, they're the ones who are sort of like the middlemen. They're the ones in the crosshairs of everything, so they get caught up in a whole bunch of shit. But the Team Jorge thing was something that, as I was explaining, I used to watch the news. I used to even watch the 700 Club just so I could get a little bit more information. And I spent like 2 years doing this every day, informing myself for 3 hours plus at a time about what was going on in the world and what they wanted us to know. And the only reason I actually did that is because early on in this fight, I got really sick of people who want to believe the narrative. So, if you bring anything up, if it's not associated with the narrative, they just don't listen. Where'd you learn that? YouTube. You'd be like, yeah, I saw this amazing YouTube video on this whole thing. They broke it all down. They used this source and that source and yada yada yada. And they'd be like, you got that from YouTube? Like, as soon as you said YouTube, they just shut down. And it was irritating, because there's a lot of really great information on YouTube. And people aren't making YouTube videos, especially in the truther realm. Like, obviously people are making all sorts of YouTube videos. But in the realm of truther, people aren't making YouTube videos that can easily be debunked so that they can look stupid, in their video forever. Most people are putting in a decent amount of effort into their video when they're questioning things, when they're talking shit about the system. And so, it just got frustrating that it, I would just be so motivated, so inspired by some video I saw, only to have somebody shoot it down. Oh, you see something on YouTube? And it was just crazy, because again, it would be like, that would be their only thing. They wouldn't even address the information being said. They wouldn't address any of it. It's YouTube? Oh my God. YouTube? And so I got sick of it. And I tried to figure out, how can I still maintain this level without, without the source of information. And I thought, okay, well, why don't I watch the news? That if I can say it to people from that point on, if I can say, well, where'd you get that information? I said, well, I saw it on the news. Just like they say it, maybe that will help. Maybe that'll be, my way in. And so for years, I watched the news every day for hours on end, and then watched the 700 Club because they would always talk about something that hadn't been talked about, like when Trump signed the legislation that said anybody who doesn't support Israel, all colleges and universities had to have a pro-Israel curriculum and actively remove any anti-Israel sentiment or any BDS, anything like that. And I thought that was crazy. And the fact is, no other news organization covered that shit but the 700 Club that morning. That was on the Tuesday after Kobe died and before one of Trump's impeachments came to an end, the Wednesday that Trump's impeachment came to an end. Kobe died on Sunday, and Trump's impeachment closing was on a Wednesday. And it was that Tuesday that Trump signed the legislation with Netanyahu, under indictment, war criminal Netanyahu, standing right there, laughing, talking about, I've known Jared Kushner, I've known Jared Kushner since he was, I shouldn't say how long I've known Jared, but like he flat out says that he's known Jared and does this in front of his waist, and then I've known Jared for, I shouldn't say how long. He's acknowledging that he knows, he has known Trump's son-in-law since he was little. Why would Netanyahu know this man? Right? You guys have way too much free time. It makes you crazy and melts your brain. Right? Don't talk about the things that are going on unless it's in the way they want you to. Gee, I wonder if this guy supports genocide or not. They do. They all stick together. And we need to have that same perception. They don't see us as black and white and American, European, Muslim, Christian. They don't see any of that shit. They see us all as goyim. So we should see them like they see us all as one group. So we should see them as the one group. They don't hide that they're one group. They're just one group, and their loyalty to each other and to Israel is stronger than anything else. And they repeatedly show it over and over again. And that's one of the things they've made illegal. So you're not allowed to say that Jays have more loyalty to Israel than they do the United States, or else that's anti-Semitic. Like, it's just a joke. It really is insane how stupid it all is, right? And watch, nobody's going to say anything to this. Nobody's going to say anything that tells me I'm wrong. Wrapping your lips into another awakened ill. They must be removed from power in corporations and government. Yes. No. It's not. Yes, but it's bigger than that. We need to outlaw that cult, right? The cult. It's a cult. Israel is just the idea. It's just this manufactured idea. Oh, that land over there is called Israel. Israel has no power. Israel's not a person that votes or does anything. Israel is just Israel's just the like the scapegoat, actually. Nothing meaningful about the genocide when he said he started some anti-Semitic stuff instead. Well, that just shows you how really stupid you are. Because supporting the Palestinians isn't Semitic. The Jays are not. A new study just came out, said 95% of Israelis don't have Semitic blood. They aren't Semitic. Now, if you want to talk about Semitism, I'd be happy to address that. Because here, let's just take a look. Right? We'll take a look here. What's up, man? Good morning. Morning. So we'll go with Semitism definition. We will bring up Merriam-Webster, because everybody believes that Webster's dictionary is the dictionary. Semitism.
Semitism.
Okay, no funny business going on here.
Semitism.
Number 1A, Semitic character qualities. Number 1B, Semitic, or a characteristic feature of a Semitic language occurring in another language. Number 2, policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. Policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. You understand what that says? Do you know what policy and predisposition means? Policy meaning the rules, the regulations, the blah, blah, you know. Predisposition means how you think before you go into it. Before you go into it, whether or not you know it's Jews or not involved, you know going into it, if you find out it's Jews, then they're going to get favoritism. That's what predisposition is. Imagine he did something besides talk. Right? I should be what? Strapping on an M16, putting on a red headband, getting a big knife, maybe a bow and arrow with some explosive tips, and then hopping on the next stowaway on the next flight into Israel, into Palestine. Jump off with my parachute, fly down, and take out Netanyahu and the rest of the gang. Is that what I should be doing instead? Not trying to start a grassroots movement? Right. What happened to Jays during World War II was fake, but not an excuse for what they were doing to Palestinians. Yeah, it's fake. The thing that is, like, if the Holocaust wasn't fake, they would encourage you to look into it. They would encourage people like me to say the things I say and then be like, look, we can just destroy what you're saying with facts. All you got to do is look into it. But just like with what's going on right now, the genocide going on right now, just like with October 7th false flag where no Israelis were killed or taken hostage, just like anything, what they want you to do is not talk about it. And really, that only exists when somebody can't answer questions. When somebody knows that they're wrong and you're supposed to believe what they want you to believe just 'cause, that's when they tell you not to talk about it. That's why they're making it illegal to talk about it. You know, they're destroying the First Amendment of the Constitution to protect a foreign country committing genocide against another group of foreign people. How does that make sense? You need to ask not what they did, but why. Sure. 317 billion since 1948. It's way more than that. It's in the trillions. You know, it may be on record this, that, or the other, but there's still the endless money that's funneled in off the books. And there's endless money that comes in through other government shit that you don't realize is associated with Israel or anything. AIPAC funnels so much money into Israel, you can't even fathom it. So something instead of a talk show sideshow. Yep. Again, that's what I should be doing. A burnt offering, exactly. A Holocaust is Yiddish for burnt offering. I think this dude just loves to hear himself talk. They're impossible. But see, why would you want to talk? Like, it's always interesting to me when people try to change the subject. You see what people are talking about. You hear the conversation being had, and you're like, and it's a super important conversation. It's the number one important conversation, not just right now, but of all time. How do we overthrow the Jays that control the narrative? And yet, instead of engaging in that conversation, you just keep trying to change the subject. Who does that? Other than dumb piece of shit Jays, who does that? Yeah, free Palestine is like a half truth, right? Because what is free Palestine? When has Palestine ever been free? Pre-2003, pre-2006, pre-1983, pre-1967, pre-1948, pre-1919. Like, when are we talking about? You know, Palestine hasn't been free in over 100 years. So to say free Palestine is almost confusing. Like, what does that mean? We put in a monarchy, a religious monarchy, a Muslim or a Christian ruler who's just another, government puppet? It's not about free Palestine, because you can't say free Palestine to the Lebanese, to the Syrians, to the Palestinians, or the Iranians, the Iraqis, the Egyptians, who are also Semitic, because all of the people of that region, including the Africans, are Semitic people. Like I said earlier, Semitism is the problem. Anti-Semitism is simply anti-supremacy. Policy and predisposition favorable to you is supremacy. It's just a nice way of saying it. I don't like Israel. I agree with you. I'm stuck in the house. Yeah, again, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? You want to talk about submarines that bad, you're that much of a submarine enthusiast, go watch Submarines Aren't Real Parts 1 through 9, where I talk all about how submarines aren't real. You saw what they wanted you to see. That doesn't make it real. Exactly. And the reality is, if you're a military man, why would I ever believe you? If you identify as military, then your allegiance is to the military over me by far. You've been programmed to speak for the military, not to speak your mind, not to tell the truth, but to say what they want said. And so you just makes me, less likely to trust you. This is a joke, right? Oh my God, this is a joke, right? This is rage bait. I love when people say that shit. Yeah, I'm rage baiting you. I was like, here, let me see if I can catch people stupid enough to support genocide and pedophilia. And by putting the thing about submarines, I knew that there was going to be this huge contingency of submarine enthusiasts out there. If prior to me starting this series, if you'd have asked me, like, what do you think you could call your shit? What do you think you could talk about that's going to bring you the most viewers? I would have never said submarines. I never thought this many people would be such insane, intense submarine enthusiasts that they don't want to talk about other stuff. They want to talk about submarines. When clearly it's the title of the show, especially for those that have been here multiple times. You already know all this. But when it says submarines aren't real, part HAMAS, obviously it's the name of the show, and then the part, that's the subject. But let's just say I was talking about submarines. This was all about submarines. But somehow, because of what's going on right now, the submarine conversation went into the Israel conversation and the Jays conversation. You moving out? You moving out? Huh? Oh, that makes more sense. Take my kids. Oh, Arnie forgot about his guy. I love it. I love the stupid shit people say because they can't fucking wrap their head around this shit. If you're watching this, like, sub, and share, man. I appreciate the shit out of it. I'm just engagement baiting, just rage baiting. Me seeing literal attack subs and ballistic subs, talking with skippers that operate these subs. Yep, that's what it must mean. So you've seen submarines swimming around in the water. But again, you care about this. This is more important to you than genocide. I haven't been programmed for anything. I joined for the benefits. I'm a military man. Doesn't mean I support Israel. Yeah, you do. If you didn't, you'd be, you would be calling out your government. You would be, you're saying what you need to say. As a military man, literally, there's nothing that you can say that makes me trust you. Military men will say whatever they need to if that's what the mission says. You could build a submarine, do it. I highly suggest anybody that thinks they're real, build one and film their whole journey. Seashells are real, really. How did we get them? Just like fossils. How do you turn organic matter into stone? You just believe what you're told, but you don't even think about it. How do you know what happens to organic matter when it dies? To think that it just gets preserved and just stays and eventually turns into a rock. You're fucking dumb, man. You've been made to be dumb. I'm just really mad that you keep talking about submarines. I'm just really mad about it. I literally said I don't support Israel. Right, you'll say what you're supposed to say. I don't openly trash Israel. I do not. Right, exactly. You're the guy that will come onto a feed, a live feed, and give all your opinions, and you'll say what you want to say on here, but to actually be that stand-up type of person, to be the warrior, the type to fight against evil, to fight against what's wrong, well, you don't openly do that. I'm literally from the Alliance. I support Palestine. Good. Being in the military doesn't automatically mean I support Israel. I joined for the benefits, not Israel. See, this is, again, isn't this funny how when people know they're wrong, they argue points that I don't say? They argue shit that they can then argue. He keeps, I joined for the benefits. Well, the only way we know what he says or thinks or did is because he says so. There's no proof of any of it. We just have to take his word on things. It's just silly how these guys are. The organic matter doesn't turn into stone. It's replaced with mineral deposits. Right. Yeah, in very specific situations. I saw that Jacques Cousteau as well. Basically, what you have to believe is that, so the dinosaurs died, and almost immediately, because if you know what happens to organic matter, it immediately starts to decay. It immediately changes. So all of this organic matter fell down dead, and then was immediately covered up, sealed up in an airtight sarcophagus, a tomb. And it was completely sealed up, and then especially if it was a volcano or something, and then over down, and they gradually the minerals and all of the atoms and molecules in the organic matter was replaced by minerals or something like that. How come nobody's ever found any half fossils? Where's all the half fossils? Where are all the things that will be fossils in a million years? Organic matter does turn into stone. That's what they say. Yes. Well, I'm leaving. I'll never and never engaging with this guy because there's something deeply wrong with his brain. So instead of just leaving, you're gonna say that, and then you won't leave. But this is how cognitive dissonance works, right? When people, you can't argue anything I'm saying. You can't engage and talk about what I'm getting wrong, but you know I'm getting it wrong. Arrogance is the hardest thing, right? Arrogance is the hardest thing to get past. What have I done to support? When I donate to charities for Gaza and Palestine, support, yeah, I believe. Looks like the feed's getting with. I'm gonna have to click try again here in a second. And spent the day on the beach. First time seeing the ocean. After a week of looking, the ocean gave me a shower. It washed up in my feet. I was trying to say goodbye to the ocean. And right. And the sentient ocean knew what was happening. And that sentient ocean doesn't sink the Israeli ships, but it gives you fossils. It gives you seashells because you are special. Oil isn't scarce? Nope. Not at all. It's definitely not the the remnants of dinosaurs. That's some of the stupidest shit. Yeah, the dinosaurs and the organic material from the dinosaur age, it went into the ground and turned into oil. Oh, that's what it is. It's totally it. Just like diamonds aren't scarce. Think about all of the diamonds that have existed, all of the necklaces, all of the cutting machines, all of the everything that's associated with diamonds. And they still convince you, they still have people believing they're scarce. When it was the company and their marketing campaign that made engagement rings and diamonds and all that shit an everyday reality. Your internet connection is equivalent to your IQ. Thank you. So you're saying I know everything. But I love when people talk shit like I can do something about my internet connection. I'm in the suburbs. I'm surrounded by cell phones. I have a phone that's less than 2 years old. There's literally no reason why my feed should be even slightly fucked with. So how do you make it make sense? I always wonder, what do people think censorship looks like? What do you think it looks like? I qualify for Mensa membership. I can't afford the application though. It's like $135. You're a genius and you can't figure out a way to make $135. All the bots, unlike the video, only mine remains. That's crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. But I highly suggest, if you're watching and you even slightly agree with what I'm saying, share, sub. If you disagree, make sure you smash that dislike button. Smash it. Because that's what the cool kids say. Smash that dislike button. Again, free Palestine is not the true call. How do you say free Palestine to the Syrians, to the Lebanese, to the Iranians, to the Yemeni? It's not free Palestine. The real rallying call is end Jayism. We need to end the cult that does all these horrible things. Cutting off a tentacle isn't going to do anything. The tentacle just grows back. sometimes splits in two and grows twice. We have to cut the head off the monster if we want the monster to die, if we want the tentacles to die. Connection isn't consistent. Level of service or age of technology doesn't matter. Yeah, again, I'm not doing it. Yeah, 77 viewers and 1 like, because that makes sense, right? You've seen that before, right? The FBI is trying to hack into the stream. They always are here. Palantir has entered the chat. Isn't it crazy how that shit is just everywhere suddenly? I was thinking of doing a video on it the other day, like a week ago. I was like, I wonder if this, because it's crazy how many times I've heard Palantir in the last week or two. You know, it's definitely, let's look it up. Let's look it up. That should be enough of a thing to look it up. By the way, let's just give that quick reminder.
Semitism.
Semitism. Semitic character or qualities, a characteristic feature of a Semitic language occurring in another language. Policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. Get it? Got it? Good. So we will look up Palantir in a second, but I do want to look this up real quick, just so you guys understand. I'm going to use Wikipedia as my source, if it's available to me. And I know a lot of people are going to use that as their excuse to hide. Oh, you're using Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not a good source. So, just so we're on the same level here, just so you understand where I'm coming from. This is Naftali Bennett, who at the time in 2010 was an Israeli agent and future prime minister of Israel, and currently is still an agent, but is the former prime minister of Israel. This is the IsraeliNationalNews.com. This is, I mean, I don't like, I'm trying to preface this as best I can because there's no way for you to, like, how do you see it any other way? So pay attention.
Moetzet Yesh, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged instruction day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaz Flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
Okay.
New to this game?
So,
Moetzet Yesh, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged instruction day for wiki editors.
okay. So, Wikipedia editors, the editors of Wikipedia, the people that have been doing their job so well that at this point, he's about to say it, Wikipedia is the #1 source of information in the world. In the world, Wikipedia is the #1 source of information. So, Israel has sent,
The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia.
Israel has sent representatives to teach the wiki editors how to do the job that they've been doing, that they've done so well. They are the
Which is the #1 source of information today in the world.
okay. Do you understand that? Like the acknowledgement that, and it's you know, growing up, pre-internet days, you knew the encyclopedia was the thing that you looked into for information. This is just the encyclopedia. Anybody who claims that, well, anybody can edit Wikipedia, they can't. Anybody on certain pages, you know, on some of the pages, a lot of the pages that have nothing to do with Israel, or that have something to do with Israel, You can't edit. There is no edit feature. But on certain pages, they have the ability to suggest an edit. If anybody could edit Wikipedia, they could destroy Wikipedia. All they would have to do is go into Wikipedia, click the edit button, click select all, click delete, and then click save, and they could really wreak havoc on Wikipedia if that was possible. No, he's even saying to you how it works. So what happens is you suggest an edit. Whoa, whoa. You suggest an edit of some sort, and Wikipedia, is notified. The editors that he's talking about, that they're teaching, the editors are then notified of your suggestion, and they then, edit your suggestion, check out your, whatever it is. They check to see if your edit follows the rules. If your edit follows the rules, if it's balanced and Zionist in nature, then they allow it through. But if it goes against what Israel wants, it's eliminated. And just in case you're some dumbass who's desperately trying to hang on to the fact that this isn't real, he even is so brazen, he gives an example.
As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
Like he flat out tells you, they want to be there. They want to influence how it is written, what is said, and how it's written, to ensure they say we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is said and how it's written, to ensure it has a balanced Zionist perspective. If you look up the Gaza flotilla from 2010, it's basically Greta Thunberg, just on a larger scale and much worse. The 7 or 8 boats full of aid and supplies tried to make it into Israel through international water, tried to make it into Gaza through international waters, only to have Israel in the middle of the night attack their ships, board their ships, take everyone hostage, and then on one of the ships, supposedly the people fought back, so and managed to kill one Israeli soldier and wound several others. The name of that soldier or any proof of that is non-existent. But Israel, in defense of itself, they had no choice. They had to defend themselves as they were taking over these people's ships in international water. Those people had the audacity to fight back. They should have just let Israel do what it does, because if they didn't, do it, 9 of them were killed, and after the fact, 6 of them were found to have been killed execution style, where they were on their knees and shot in the head. But that was just in defense of itself, right? That was just Israel defending itself because they had the right to. They were being attacked. Those people should have just let the Gaza flotilla thing happen, blah, blah, blah. So, when you think that anybody can just edit Wikipedia, where you hide behind that give me the better source. Tell me what the better source is than Wikipedia to get a general summary of information. Sure, each article, if it's based on something, then there's going to be articles about that thing. But this is a good summary of those articles. But somebody, come on, tell me something, Tell me a better source to use than Wikipedia. Especially when you understand that as far as looking up stuff about Israel or J stuff or whatever, The prime minister, the high-ranking Israeli operative, flat out said that they control Wikipedia so that it has a balanced Zionist perspective. Like it might not be 100% true, but it's what Israel wants us to know. And that's that's undeniable. That's undeniable. Right? Did you see how the Grok thing got eliminated or got suspended for telling the truth about Israel? The Grok identity, the AI Grok got suspended. The system suspended itself for telling the truth about what's happening. It's fucking crazy. It's just crazy. But that doesn't mean it's a better source. It's a different source, but it's not a better source. And why would Grok be, like, what would make it the better source? Any way you slice it, it's not like people, Free Palestine. Again, I'm all for the Free Palestine stuff. I agree with you, but the only way we free Palestine is if we free the rest of the world from the J cancer. So yes, free Palestine, but free the rest of us too. Free Lebanon, free Syria, free Iran, free the United States from the Israeli control. The rally cry is end Jayism. We have to end the cult that controls all these different things. The cult that controls the information we get. The cult that commits the genocide. The cult that's continuously caught raping children in Hollywood. It's fucking crazy. No, Free Palestine, that's what you mean. That's what you want to say. But because we're all so well programmed, everyone says Free Palestine, and they're too scared to say the other thing. But Free Palestine is all that takes is the J media cycle to tell us that. What'd you do to the back of your leg? You got a big bruise. Other leg. Oh, you won't see it from that angle. Looks like a bite. But it's again, it's Free Palestine only go. I don't even know what it means. I don't even know what a Free Palestine is supposed to be. And this idea of a two-state solution is just such insulting bullshit. It really is just fucking bullshit. There's no reason why the Palestinians should have to give up their land for anything Israel. Anything. And the thing is, most of you just don't understand that that's what's going on here. Every accusation is a confession. I mean, don't get caught up in these bots. Huh?
Rather than fluoride.
Oh. Yeah. Fluoride is shit. It's toxic waste. So let's see. So real quick, let's explain what's happening in the feed right now, because people are gonna see these comments and be like, "What the hell going on here? What the hell going on here?" And as I started off by saying, like, this is what inspired me to begin with. I am the reason why a lot of you know about Team Jorge, right? Team Jorge is so let's explain to you what's going on here. And then I'll explain why we know about it. So, Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Israeli contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm-run social media disinformation campaigns to manipulate the outcomes of elections. The group was first exposed in February of 2023 after an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from France, Germany, Indonesia, Israel, Kenya, Spain, Tanzania, and the United States. The organization has been active since at least 2015, just before Trump lost the election by 2.7 million votes, and the AIPAC swamp put him in anyway. The swamp that he swore he was going to drain, like he's going to end the wars in 24 hours, like he's going to release all the files, like he's going to lower the gas and food prices. Remember all those promises? Well, the promise was, he's going to drain the swamp, and that same swamp, that same AIPAC, put him in office anyway. So on paper, Team Jorge has been active since 2015 and boasts of having manipulated 33, gotta love that 33 thrown in there, presidential elections worldwide, many of them in Africa. Don't worry, it's in Africa, and many, meaning 4 or more. And with 27 cases with successful results. 27 times out of 33 times they tried to manipulate a presidential election, they were successful. Just think about how insane that is. If you think that's crazy, like, share, and sub. If you think all of this is just normal, okay bullshit, then make sure you smash the dislike. Their activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv, carried out by 3 undercover journalists who posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal, T-A-L, Hanan, H-A-N-A-N, the group's leader and former Israeli Special Forces operative. You should be in jail, says somebody. I should be in jail for reading the Wikipedia page out loud. This is so obvious. This is so well known that it's not even like you have to go to some conspiracy theory page and find some secret document or something like that. This is a Wikipedia page. You don't have to have some special knowledge. You just have to be able to read. It's this obvious, and what, our government doesn't know what's happening? You didn't know about it. The only reason you would know about this is because you watch me. That's it. Nobody else is talking about it. I mean, it's starting to be talked about. I saw a video today talking about it, and it was the first time I've seen a video talking about it in a long, long time. According to Tal Hanan, the group's leader, Team Jorge has existed for more than 2 decades, not 2015, 2 decades, and has been engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. Their services have been available to government intelligence agencies, political campaigns, and private companies that wish to covertly manipulate public opinion. One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The software automates centralized control of thousands of fake social media profiles on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it, across the board. And if you actually read the articles, they say that they're capable of generating 30,000 bots at any given time. And remember, this is just Team Jorge. This is just one Israeli black ops organization capable of doing this, that has access to this software. Of which, again, if you read the articles, they talk about it's not even, bots isn't even necessarily accurate. It's more like avatars. It's a technology that isn't seen anywhere else in the world. Like all the news agencies, all the nerds at the news agencies and shit, they had never seen anything this sophisticated before. And so when you look at the comment section full of pedophile Trump supporters and people just here to talk shit, especially people who are returning to talk shit. Everyone knows my feed is all about we should kill pedos and erase the J menace. Stop the genocide, stop it all by erasing the J menace, the cult that controls everything. It has to be exposed and it has to be removed. If you're here and talking shit, that means you oppose me. That means you oppose the guy that thinks we should kill pedos. That means you oppose the guy that thinks we shouldn't be slaves. So I'm forced to ask, who the fuck is in that category? Who thinks that way? Who hears what I'm saying about this software automates centralized control of thousands, 30,000 at a time, social media profile? Who thinks I'm the bad guy for pointing that out? For knowing this stuff. I didn't even point it out. I just know it. I just know what's available to all of us to know, but I know it because I paid attention at one time. Because this story was put out. It was covered by a bunch of different alternative media sources. No major networks picked it up for some strange reason. You have direct proof that Israel is probably, because we're told that Russia interfered with the 2016 election. It's just fucking silly. You've been told that over and over again. You've never been shown any proof, any examples. Russia interfered to make Trump win, but Trump lost by 2.7 million votes. So how did Russia interfere? I'm not really sure, but I'm supposed to believe it. And yet, Team Jorge admittedly interferes with elections and has been doing so on paper since 2015 with the Cambridge Analytica scandal. It was AIPAC that put Trump in the first place when he lost. So who do you think is interfering with the elections? I mean, it's just crazy. So that's the automated side. And that's just Team Jorge. There are multiple examples of Team Jorge that are capable of generating 30,000 bots at any time. So if they want somebody to be a star, they can make somebody a star overnight. They get 10 of their organizations to create profiles and boost the person up. That's what's going to happen. Good. How are you? Just like if they use those same 10 agencies and 30,000 bots apiece to attack somebody. I mean, you literally ask any of the naysayers in the feed. Call them out by name. Ask them, well, what are you doing here? What's your motivation for being here? You don't like this guy. Apparently, you oppose what he thinks, which is we should kill pedos and eliminate the J control scheme. So what is your motivation for being here? And none of them will answer you. Because it's majority of it's bots. The other side of it is, don't think that it's just Team Jorge. Because there's something else called act.il. And act.il is actually a locked page. Team Jorge isn't locked, but understand, they know I'm going to read the Team Jorge page every day. It's able, if you could really edit Team Jorge, if you could really edit Wikipedia, that page would be full of Guy Williams sucks, all sorts of shitty comments. They would, knowing that I'm going to read it, they would interfere and prove that anybody can, because look, this says this, right? Nobody's edited the Team Jorge Wikipedia in a long time. It's an illusion. But this one, they don't even give you the illusion. This one is locked. And this is act.il. Act.il was a social networking service used by supporters of Israel to oppose online anti-Israel content, such as the BDS movement, boycott, divestments, and sanctions. Its activities were referred to as an online, quote, online propaganda campaign and a, quote, virtual situation room for pro-Israel experts. Pay attention here. Act.il directed its users to, quote, missions to like, comment on, and share pro-Israel material on social media. It also asked users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Israel. Users were guided on how to respond, which might entail using a reply using the provided talking points. Writing a reply using the provided talking points. So when you see the same dumbass comments over and over again from different people, this guy's a schizo, this guy needs a job, this guy, he smokes crack. You know, any of these same things over and over again. These things that aren't accurate. But instead of actually addressing, you know, anything I'm saying, and definitely not in support of killing pedos or, you know, eliminating the Jade's control scheme or anything like that. It's not like that happens. Instead, there's just all these random people who are somehow disagreeing with me. What? You don't think we should kill pedos? You think we should continue giving Israel all of our tax dollars? You think that the Constitution of the United States should be amended to protect Israel and the Jays over anybody else? You know, who the fuck are these people? These are the same people that still support Trump, though. These are the people that are capable of overlooking what Trump is being associated with and has been associated with, to continue to support this openly, you know, racist, sexist, homophobic, and now pedophile. Not now. I mean, it's been known for a long time, but it's now out in the open. I've been saying it for fucking years. You can find countless videos of mine, especially prior to the election, where I brought it up over and over again that Trump lost the election by 2.7 million votes, that Trump covered up the Epstein thing, and that Trump locked us down with COVID. I made those 3 points just about every single day. So this surprise that Trump's a pedo is not that surprising. Look into Katie Johnson, man. Her charges were so her accusations were so credible that he was actually charged. He was set to report on May 2nd, 2020, or on March 2nd, 2020. He was set to report to a physical examination where they were supposed to, you know, take his fluids and check his body and all these different things, because the accusation had to be that credible. And yet you were all worried about COVID, the non-existent COVID. Yep, there we go, meth head again. We have the provided talking points. By using the provided talking points or sharing or upvoting an allied comment, the app also provided users with ready-made memes promoting Israel's perspective for them to share. Most important part in this whole thing. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. They literally turned interfering, trolling, attacking people like me into a sort of real-life video game where they get prizes for doing so. That's what this is telling you. This isn't my theory. This is such an open, secret, and obvious thing that it's got a Wikipedia page. A Wikipedia page that's completely locked. So the only ones editing it are Israel to begin with. According to Mondo Weiss, an email sent in March 2022 to the app's users announced that the app will be shut down, but the users should continue to interact with act.il's content on its other social media platforms. Right, because they don't want the direct connection to come back to the app. So now it's just on all the social media platforms. Combine act.il with Team Jorge, and what do you get? Ding dong. Hot dog. Hot dog. I remember being little and not really understanding why I liked watching the girls do the hot dog part, but I liked watching girls do the hot dog part. We got the rhythm of their hands. We got the rhythm of their feet. We got the rhythm of the hot dog. Do kids even do that shit anymore? I don't know. You know, I have boys, so boys definitely don't do it. But do girls still do the down, down, baby, down by the roller coaster, sweet, sweet baby? I wanna let you go. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop. Shimmy, shimmy, rah. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop. Shimmy, shimmy, rah. And then I think that's when the I got the rhythm. That's what it is. I had girl cousins. I knew all the words. Just like I know all the words to, you know, the whole now I lay me down to sleep bullshit. You hear it enough. You know? But again, ask yourself, like, who the fuck developers interdisciplinary center of Herzliya, Reichman University? I never actually looked at this. Reichman's University, Reichman. What a weird coincidence, huh? Reichman. What was the Nazis called again? Is Israel's only private university located in Herzliya, Tel Aviv district. It was founded in 1994 as the Interdisciplinary Center Herzliya, IDC Herzliya Hebrew Private College, before being rebranded in 2021. It receives no direct government funding, and in August 2021 became Israel's first private university. It receives no government funding. Bullshit. I mean, considering people are donating the money that's then given to them, you know, the Israelis live for free. Free healthcare, free housing, free food, free everything. It's paid for by us. You know, there's something called a memorandum of understanding, which is signed every 10 years or so. And it guarantees Israel X amount of money for the 10 years. So the last one was signed by Obama in 2016, though it didn't go into effect until 2018. I'm not really sure. It's hard to follow the paper trail on that one. But that one said Israel to get $38 billion over 10 years, which is $3.8 billion a year. And that's not in like they call it military aid, but that's just to sort of disguise what it is, because it's just cash. They get a lump sum cash payment in the first fiscal month of every year of $3.8 billion. It has no regulations, no restrictions, no monitoring attached to it. It's just one lump sum cash payment. Nobody else gets that. We give aid to lots of other countries, but we don't give them a lump sum cash payment in the first month of the year that has no stipulations, nothing attached to it. We don't do anything close to that for anybody else. That's your tax dollars. That's what you pay taxes for. That's why your roads look like shit. That's why our infrastructure is falling apart. That's why there's not a government fucking regulated pedo hunter group. But there is a task force to combat anti-Semitism. That's a government agency. But nobody thinks we should fund Alex Rosen. That goofy J does a really great job. You know, as much as I hate him for who he is and what he believes, he does a great job, so he gets a pass. Sorta. I mean, I guess. he would still have to renounce his association with the cult if he wanted to stay here when I'm president in 2028. Because I am running for president in 2028. This is a grassroots campaign. So if you're tired of the same old politician bullshit, then let's put in a real person. And you know, my first order of business will be to cut off Israel, to make that cult illegal here. You will not be allowed to be one of those cult members and live in the United States. We'll do everything we can. We'll pay for you to go to Israel. We're actually going to go get all the Palestinians that are willing to leave out and say, look, we're going to set you up in the United States. You're going to live good. You're going to be, you're going to live free. You're going to have, you've gone through more than enough in your life that we can put you up. We'll pay for you to exist, to come heal here. And if the land opens back up, which I think it will, then we'll pay for you to go back. But to replace all of the piece of shit Jays that are here, we'll bring the Palestinians here, and then we'll ship them all over to Israel, and they can live out their dream. I want to give them what they want. I'm not saying we're going to kill anybody. It's just like a Forrest Gump on the bus situation. You can't sit here, seats taken. We're just no longer going to support the cult in its genocide. Second order of business, well, technically still part of the first order of business, is to make all pedophilia an offense punishable by death. There will be no more wrist slaps. There will be no more. And actually, I have a unique program that I think will actually provide a lot more safety than anything. And that is the registry program, right? Where if you are a person who has, because we have to acknowledge that our society is full of psychos. There are literally people out here that like to hurt people, like to rape people, like to torture people. They exist. And there's a lot more of them than you realize. So my program simply says, look, if you join the program and you agree that it to be watched, to be monitored a little bit, and as long as you don't hurt anybody else or do anything along those lines, whenever somebody does rape somebody or violate a child or something like that, they're given to you, no questions asked, no strings attached. You can do whatever you want, and that part doesn't get monitored. And you can legally act out all of your craziest, wildest, disgusting fantasies on that person without any repercussions whatsoever. As long as you stay on the list and you stay on the straight and narrow, we will give you a piece of shit to act out all your wildest on. So those are two of the platforms I'm running on for president in 2028. If you agree with those things, like, share, sub, man. Like I say, I hate to take the Palestinians out of their land, but it's like, if you don't take the buyout, you're going to be fucked. Right? That's how that works. When they offer you the buyout, you better take the buyout. Because otherwise, you're still going to lose your shit. You're just not going to have the buyout. And that's what we're offering is like, just come here and heal. You'll be safe here. You'll be put up here. Your family will thrive here. And then when you want to go back, you can go back. Just let it work itself out. Right? And I always have to point it out. Look at the comments, people. Anybody that's here, it's on the fence, whatever, just look at the comments. How come nobody is addressing what I'm saying and just keeps talking about goofy shit? Not one of these fucking people are like, hell yeah, we should kill those pedos. hell yeah, we need to stop giving our money to them. But they don't say shit like that. They just keep talking shit. Who is going to be behind that other than things like Team Jorge, things like act.il? By the way, Reichman University was founded in 1994 by Uriel Reichman as the Israeli Private College Interdisciplinary Center Herzliya, IDC Herzliya. The campus is located in the city of Herzliya, Israel, 6 miles north of the city of Tel Aviv, on the grounds of a former British Air Force base. Boy, that's probably got a good deal on that, huh? It served the first squadron of the Israeli Air Force for 3 months of Israel's War of Independence. In 2009, Alpha Epsilon Phi opened the first college fraternity in Israel at the IDC. In 2012, the college attracted controversy for the School of Sustainability being funded by Israel's major polluting companies. In 2018, the college was authorized by the State Council to run several doctoral courses, but was not permitted to brand itself as a university. In 2021, the college was permitted to brand itself as a university. The school does not receive direct government funding. Does not receive direct government funding. No Camels website. Reichman University, through the Sami Offer School of Communication, sponsors No Camels, an Israeli online website that publishes stories on Israeli innovation, technology, and science. And it's called No Camels. Yeah, I bet that's what that is. What about the government investing in themselves and finding no wrongdoing? Ever. Investigating themselves, ever. That's why everything is Hamas. If you see any Israeli talking head on any TV show, anything, it goes, we are God's chosen people, we're doing God's work, and everything that you see is Hamas. When they're bombing schools, it's because Hamas tunnels are underneath. When civilians are dying in those schools, it's because Hamas made them human shields. Nobody talks about why does there even need to be human shields to begin with, but just the concept of it is so fucking stupid, especially when you look at the fact that Israel's main military base is direct center in the middle of the town, surrounded by schools and all that shit. So as far as human shields go, that they literally, that's what they're talking about. But first they blame Hamas, and then if you go, yeah, you can't blame Hamas, they go, oh, well, it's God's work, and then you go, I don't want to hear that shit, I don't believe in that shit. Immediately it's just, well, that's anti-Semitism. That's anti-Semitism. You're anti-Semitism. And then that's that. And that's literally the only arguments they have. They can't back up or justify or explain any of it in a reasonable way. And you won't see it. If I'm wrong, it should be everywhere. There should be people on here making, comment after comment. Well, you're wrong about this because of this, and Israel does good because of that, and blah, blah, blah. Like anytime somebody does mention the good that Israel supposedly does, it's, the technology or the medicine or the advancement that they've provided something. Nothing that you can actually pinpoint. And when you think that the United States gives them $3.8 billion a year, Canada gives them $2 billion, Australia gives them $1.2 billion. These are just three of the countries. The 3.8 billion that we give them, once it turns into Israeli shekels, it becomes about 15 billion shekels. The amount of innovation. So there was this documentary I saw one time about the slums in pretty sure it was India. Pretty sure it was one of the slums in India, in Delhi, I believe. and it was like the slum was here, and then on the other side were like high rises and shit. And then one of the things was the people in the high rises didn't like looking out of their high rise and seeing the slum out their windows. So, you know, the government kept trying to remove the slums. And you'd think the slums would be like awful, right? Well, the camera crew is walking through, and if you pay attention, you see like it's clean. For a place with nothing, it's not like when you go, like you see some white redneck's house in Virginia or whatever, and they got like 16 cars on the front lawn and, you know, diapers and all kinds of shit just laying around, trash. It's not like that. It's not what you would consider the slum. It's not like what Detroit looks like, you know. It's actually really clean for there not to be anything. And one of the things that they focused on was there was this guy there who had figured out a way how to take laundry detergent containers, that plastic that laundry detergent containers are in, and similar containers like that. He figured out a process to turn that into a leather material that he made, you know, designer handbags and designer leather, you know, handbags and wallets and shit like that. And he said his dream was to one day be on you know, a competitor with Gucci and shit like that. But this one dude employed like 30 people. From the people who gathered the materials, to the people that washed them, to the people that processed it, to this, that, and the other. And he was like considered a wealthy guy. And he lived in like a 3,000 square foot apartment that was considered like beautiful. Like it was, and he lived with his family and all that. But he employed all of these people. And he created product out of trash. Like that dude that makes plastiline. That disappeared but then reappeared, that guy, Jordan or whatever his name is. I don't remember. But the point being, is it because the Jays are so much smarter and better than us? Or because they're given so much to work with? Because imagine if $3.8 billion was funneled into these slums where these guys are able to do this innovation and shit, like if that guy did all that with nothing. Imagine what kind of innovations a mind like that somehow figured out how to take laundry tubs and turn them in laundry detergent containers and turn them into designer handbags. Like, that's brilliant. That's innovation on the highest levels. Imagine what he could do with unlimited funding. So when Israel brags about the medicine, the vaccines and shit that they provide the world, and, you know, the technological advancements, like anybody would do that if they were given that much money. $15 billion just from 15 billion shekels just from the US alone. And they have like 10 million people. It was 9 million. I'm assuming it's 10 million now that they've brought so many in from all over the place. There's been a huge influx of them. How many of you know that for 3 weeks prior to the unprovoked invasion of Russia on Ukraine, that Israel was flying 3 of the largest passenger planes, I don't know, 747s or Airbus, whatever you want to, I don't know what the fucking name is. 3 of those were flying nonstop from Kiev to Israel, bringing anybody that wanted to come live in Israel and take advantage of the law of return, which says that as long as you have one grandparent that was J, it doesn't even matter if you're practicing. If you have one grandparent that was J, then you can come get that Israeli life. Like, it's just fucking insane. It's insane. But that memorandum of understanding gets signed every 10 years that gives Israel the $3.8 billion a year lump sum cash payment. A new one has to be signed either next year or the year after that, and it's going to be Trump. And when Israel got the $38 billion over 10 years, they were mad. They thought that they should get more like $100 billion over the 10 years. And I'd be willing to bet. I've already predicted it. I've already said I predict it. So the last time I predicted something, October 7th happened. Months in advance. April, May, something like that, of 2023, I would tell anybody that would listen that Israel is going to, October 7th, pull a false flag where no Israelis die or are taken hostage, and then facilitate a genocide because of it. I said it countless times. And I said that if they don't do it by December of 2023, by the end of December 2023, that I'll stop making videos altogether. I'll quit. That's how confident I was that it was going to happen. I thought it would happen closer to December. I didn't think they would take advantage, so soon. I knew after they put Israel into the visa waiver program on September 29th, that was a huge piece of the puzzle. Because Israel didn't meet the criteria necessary to be put into the program. One of the stipulations is that, the visa waiver program basically means their people can come here, travel to and from the United States without any visa issues. But it's also supposed to mean that Americans are able to travel in Israel with the same sort of freedoms and without any restrictions, without any discriminations. And Palestinians and Palestinian supporters consistently, routinely were being brutalized by Israeli officials and Israeli, agents and whatnot at trying to come in, trying to see relatives. And, there was clearly, it wasn't a two-way street. And Israel flat out acknowledged, we have no plans on changing this. We're not going to follow the rules. We're not going to, stop doing what we're doing, but you are going to put us in the visa waiver program. And so the United States said, okay, well, we will put you in the program, but you have 6 months to comply. That 6 months ended either the day before Passover of 2024 or the day it ended. Either the day it started or the day it ended I think it's the day it ended, I think, was the exact 6 months time frame that they had. But then October 7th happens 8 days later, and all of that shit's out the window. Israel doesn't have to worry about any sort of visa waiver program, stipulations, criteria. They're just in it. And this is the kind of shit where this is big boy stuff, right? So it's interesting to me how many people come in the feed and talk shit because you sound like children, right? You sound like children who want to be a part of a conversation, but you can't. I mean, I can remember being a kid and the adults talking about politics and not understanding any of it, being bored, being irritated by it, and doing what I can to sort of change the subject so they would talk about something that I had something to say. When it was politics, I didn't have anything to say. And I see that in the comment section consistently where, I don't expect you guys to know all this stuff because it's all hidden from you. You're not supposed to know this stuff. If you do know this stuff, or at least you agree with it, like, share, sub. It helps, according to what everybody else says, algorithms and whatnot. And make sure you hit dislike if you dislike what I'm saying. I just can't imagine that shit. Who other than Jays and pedos is going to oppose me? I want everybody to live a much better life. I want to get rid of all the control schemes and all the bullshit that keeps us down, that keeps us from being the people we all know we should be. Nobody's like, man, Life is just so great. Even like, why do you think so many super rich people have such shitty lives? They're all so fucked up. They're so mean inside. Why do you think that is? What do you think that does to kids growing up in that environment that know that their family and whatnot has the capability of helping people? You know, has you know, can help people and still be rich afterward, and they don't. What kind of psychological damage do you think that does to young children as they're like, Mommy, Daddy, why aren't we helping those people? Well, those people aren't good enough. Those people didn't have a father that did well, and then they inherited a bunch of shit. It's like so many of us see when rich people are crying, are complaining, we're like, what are you complaining about? At least your bills are paid and blah, blah, blah. And it's true, right? So you have to ask, like, what is it that has them so depressed? I know if I had the ability to pay for billboards and shit, there would be anti-Israel billboards all over the United States. If I had any sort of platform whatsoever, I would be using it to you know, to try to unify the Goyim, to overthrow the slave masters. And you see there's so many people out there that have so much, and they're, you know, and the thing is too, another one of their weapons is, so you start to feel this way, right? You feel like, what the fuck? I'm feeling helpless, and I want to fix things. I want to make the world a better place, and I'm feeling helpless. How do I fix this? Because from a very young age, that's what we're told. We're told as humans, it's our job to figure out what's wrong and fix it, make it better. So when you finally get to that point where you're like, you know what, I am going to start looking at things. I am going to start trying to make things better. If you look deep enough, you're eventually going to come to the J argument. Doesn't matter what thing you're looking at, doesn't matter what conversation you're having, it's going to come back to the J's. And so then you go to try to tell somebody, hey, you know what, I think I've figured this out. And they go, oh, what is it? What is, you figured this out? Cool, what is it? And you go, you know, I think it's the J's are controlling everything. And they go, hey, blah, 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 blah. Can't say that. And you're like, well, what do you mean? You know, we're supposed to find out what the problem is. I think I found out what the problem is. Yeah, but you can't say that. What do you mean I can't say that? Yeah, you just can't. You're not allowed to say that. What if it's true? Can't say it. And you're like, okay, so what am I allowed to say? And they go, I don't know, get creative. You know, okay, well, how about it's the devil? There you go. There you go. The devil does it, yep. And how do we beat the devil? Because, you know, we're just humans. We don't have any magic powers and shit, and the devil has all the magic powers. How do we beat the devil? We don't. We need somebody on the devil's level to do the thing. The devil's level. The devil's level. The devil's level. We need somebody on the devil's level to with the magic powers and all that shit to you know, to combat this deity, this monster. We can't do it. We're just fucking dumb people, right? Your Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, poor kids. Who are poor kids? Me and other people? Or are you talking about the people watching? You're calling them poor kids? Why are you calling people poor kids? Are you that stupid? But you then say it's the devil, and people go, okay. So how do I combat the devil? Well, you just pray about it. As long as you pray really hard, and really God doesn't answer prayers, God answers tithing. So you have to tithe, and then if you pray really, really hard, and you follow all the rules, and you don't talk bad about the Jays, of course, because those are, unlike you, the Christian, you're not, as Christians, you're not Christian God's favorite chosen people. They are. The bad guys in the Bible who kill the Jesus, the Christian God's only son, they are the Christian God's chosen people. There's no conspiracy there, though, folks. Don't worry about that. You just keep believing that you're one of the... If you're not the chosen, then what are you? From what I've read in the Bible, if you're not one of the chosen, then you're a slave. But if you can interpret it differently to me, then let's hear it. Right? But they tell you, okay, so the way we fix it is we just pray about it. And you're like, haven't people been doing this prayer thing for a long time? And they're like, yeah, but you haven't been. Maybe you're the key. Let's fill you with some more arrogance, right? And you go, well, how do I know it's not Islam? And they're, oh, don't you dare that. No. It's Christianity. And you go, can Islam be debunked? Yeah, Islam can be debunked. Christian God says don't worship any other gods. How much more evidence do you need, buddy? Oh, okay, I guess. And you do your prayer thing, and you tithe, and you do all this stuff. You don't live your life how you're supposed to. You quit jerking off. Yeah, right. You don't have sex before you're married because you don't want to go to hell, all of you people that have had sex before you were married. Or all of you people that have sex for reasons other than procreation. Shame, shame, shame. But you live your life for a long time, and you do the things that you're supposed to do. You follow the rules. You ignore all of the contradictory shit. All the times you've seen that the clergy of some sort get in trouble for raping a kid, and the church protect that person. You've seen that happen so many times. You're told to focus on the Boy Scouts. I can't tell you a Boy Scout story. I know there probably are a few, but I don't know them. They weren't worldwide stories, and they weren't so consistent that, like, it just happened over and over again. Like in 2018, when the Pennsylvania diocese records were released. So Pennsylvania was broken up into 8 different dioceses. It's just like gang activity. And it was found out that 6 out of the 8 dioceses were riddled with pedophilia stories, where they would catch somebody and then send them off to some other place in the country without telling anybody. Or they would move them, they would move them around. They had all these pedo stories that nobody knew about. And at first, the archdiocese, the guy that's in control of that whole territory, the underboss, he came out and was like, yeah, he's the creepiest golem looking dude you've ever seen. He's so, if you were going to draw a scary pedo in a church uniform, church dress, then he would be the guy you would draw. Long, creepy fingers, bulging eyes and shit. He was just nasty. He denied everything until it came out that he was actually, had been associated with some shit. And immediately he just disappeared. He was probably just shipped back to the Vatican so he couldn't be extradited. And it was only 6 out of 8, right? Because the two dioceses that weren't on the list or weren't riddled with pedophilia, well, those were Amish communities. So for some reason, the Amish are allowed to override protocol, law, all that shit. Pedophilia is huge in the Amish communities. Abuse is huge in the Amish communities, and it doesn't come out because they're just allowed to handle things in-house, apparently. weird little cult, Pennsylvania cult. And you would have thought that, like, oh shit, 6 out of the 8 in Pennsylvania are like this. What's it like in every other diocese across the fucking country? I literally fell for it at that time. I literally thought, oh shit, this is gonna be a domino effect, man. It sucks that they're pointing it out, because instead of just raiding all of these different dioceses without any warning, now you're giving a warning to all of the other places that they need to get to shredding. So even if there is some sort of raid, it's going to be compromised, but at least there'll be a raid, right? No. That story just disappeared. They were like, nope, don't care. And I don't remember why I started talking about this. I was talking about something. But anybody that's like, oh, that's Catholicism, you're all Catholics. You're all Catholics. You just don't like it. It's weird to think that, like, this is basically what you think, right? At some point in history, somebody was like, yeah, you know what? I like Catholicism, but I don't like this part and that part. So we're going to be, the same thing as Catholics, but we're going to call ourselves Protestant. We're going to call ourselves Lutheran. We're going to call ourselves this, that, and the other. And somehow it appealed to a whole bunch of people who, in horse and wagon days, and whatever, they were like, okay, let's do that. Let's move. It's the Protestants that founded America, that were the Pilgrims and shit. Like, it's all really stupid. What's up, man? Good. Thanks. I don't like the commitment section. I don't need to read a bunch of dumb shit. I'll let the people who want to see it. I know none of you are addressing what I'm saying. The reality is, and I think this is what I was saying, you guys are second class in your own belief structure. And when you look at how the Bible is presented, right, when you look at the fact that you're given this Jewish fairy tale. Whether you like it or not, all of the characters in the Bible are Jewish. All of the stories, even Jesus, these are Jewish people. These aren't Gentiles. In multiple times in the Bible, Gentiles are mentioned as a separate group. These, not us Gentiles, those Gentiles. So you've been tricked into believing in this system that places you as a slave, places your needs as secondary, and Semitism and favoritism as the number one thing. The bad guys are actually the favorites. And you've been trained from birth by your parents and then the community and all that you better fucking believe this. If you don't believe this, you're a bad person. You better believe what we believe and how we believe it, or else you are a bad person. And it's crazy. It's crazy to think that this is how this works. That you have to accept your second class status. Like, for them to get their Semitism, I have to accept the legitimacy of their belief, their cult, that places them above me. I have to believe that they are somehow some special chosen, and I'm just not. I'm just a goyim. I'm just a Gentile. And if I don't accept that, if I don't openly be like, oh, that's a good thing, I'm a bad guy, And so you look at that for what it is, right? And apply it to today. Apply it to what you're seeing right now. There's a genocide happening right now. There are endless videos of starving children who are like skeletons. They're just laying there because they can't even move. They're so weak. Faces all sunk in. Looks like old Somalia videos and shit. And those people are also being hit with artillery, having bombs dropped on them from, you know, the most advanced F-35 fighter jets on the market that we are required to give them because of another memorandum of understanding that says Israel is to have the mightiest military in the region by an arbitrary percentage that they just make up. And anything that offsets that percentage, the United States is then required to balance it back out. An example is the Abraham Accords, which is Trump's real legacy. And this is another one of those things that was happening while you were scared of COVID. The President of the United States was being a middleman between Middle Eastern countries and Israel, signing what they called normalization deals, which, again, I highly suggest you try to figure out what the fuck a normalization deal is, because I can't. I can't figure it out. Well, I can, I have ideas, but like you can't find it anywhere. You won't find anything that explains exactly what a normalization deal is. But basically, what they are is that the United States goes to a country, say Bahrain, and they say, okay, Bahrain, you have to allow Israelis to come and go as they please, like a visa waiver program. You have to allow Israelis to travel and do business and all that shit as they please in your country. And most importantly, if Israel were to, I don't know, do a false flag and then start a genocide, you have to commit that you won't get involved. And if you do that, the United States is going to pay you handsomely. So you have all these countries like Qatar and and Bahrain and UAE and, you know, Morocco and all these places where the elites sign these deals that they benefit from, yet the people don't support it at all. When World Cup was in Qatar, it was like a constant anti-Israel protest, pro-Palestinian protest. And you would see like Israelis would have journalists there, right? And people would be like drunk or whatever, coming out from the game. They'd be all celebrating and happy. And the Israeli would walk up and be like, yeah, we like this, yeah. And everybody, and you go Israel, right? Yeah, Israel. And they'd be like, what? No, not good. Like they would ambush all of these people. And then when people would be like, get the fuck away from me. What are you doing? No, we want nothing to go, free Palestine. These then get reported as hate crimes, as journalists being attacked in Qatar because of, you know, this, that, and the other. It was really fucking crazy to witness how it all worked out. But they get these crazy deals where, you know, we say we're going to give your country X amount of dollars, you know, millions, billions of dollars for you know, every year that you're involved. We're going to provide you with, in Bahrain, I know Bahrain got a fleet of F-35 fighter jets. I don't know how many. I go conservative and say, let's say they were given 20 F-35 fighter jets in order to play nice with Israel. Well, because we gave Israel, or we gave Bahrain 20 F-35 fighter jets, we have to give Israel 35 F-35 fighter jets to offset the fact that we just gave Bahrain those 20. They have to have what's called a qualitative military advantage. Again, something that if you look it up, it will only talk about Israel. It'll take you to, if you look up qualitative military advantage on Wikipedia, it will take you to the page that says Israeli American relations. And then at some point in the article, it'll sort of touch on the fact that we've committed to Israel having a qualitative military advantage. Which again is some arbitrary bullshit that they just do it. They do it because that's what they want to do. I wouldn't give Israel 3 donkeys. Nope. Well, I want to give Israel to the Israelis. I want to give the J's to Israel. Again, I'm running for president in 2028. And the major platform, the main thing I'm running on is that we eliminate the cult here in the United States. And we allow them what they want. They can have their precious Israel. And they're not going to have any more interference from us, no more money from us, no more protection from us, nothing. They just get to exist in Israel. And as God's chosen people, they're going to be protected and they're going to thrive and all that shit, right? They should absolutely support this. I will pay for all of them to get the fuck out of here. And that's the main platform that I'm running on. They don't have to go. If they want to renounce their cult membership and say, you know what, you're right, we are all here together. Nobody is born children and goyim and all that bullshit. None of it. No, it's all bullshit. If they say that shit, they're more than welcome to stay. We could use all that innovation that they bring. But if you insist on being a Matitza Bipa or Matitza Bape supporting, genocide supporting, I'm a Goyim supporting fucking cult member, nope. You can't say that, oh, well, I'm a cult member. I don't support what's going on in Israel right now. Okay, well, do you support eliminating Israel altogether? Because according to your belief structure, it shouldn't be there until the Messiah shows up. So either your Messiah showed up and we missed it, or it's not supposed to be there. But even still, that was somebody else's place. People lived there already. They didn't do anything wrong. They were completely victimized. And the play was was started long before you guys realized. The Balfour Declaration was really the Rothschild Declaration. They just couldn't put Rothschild on it. It would have been too obvious. But the Rothschilds commissioned the Balfour guy to fucking write this thing, if he even did, and he probably didn't. The group wrote it at their group meeting and whatever, but it's said that Balfour wrote this thing. And then World War I happens. And of course, the Spanish flu happens as well. But World War I happens. And one of the main goals of World War I think the main goal, all the other things that happened were just, extras, was they put Palestine, they put the British in charge of Palestine, and they created British Mandate Palestine. And for the next 30 plus years, the Palestinian people became complacent. They figured that they would be protected by the British. They didn't need to have a military. The British had their back. They didn't need to have a government. The British had their back. Everything's fair, blah, blah, blah. Everything's going good, this, that, and the other. And so then they orchestrate World War II and the Holocaust. And now for some reason, the Palestinians have to pay for what supposedly happened thousands of miles away in Germany. Hundreds, thousands of miles away in Germany. And of course, it's not something that you're allowed to talk about, look into, investigate, ask questions about. You just have to believe that this is what happened because they say so. Funny enough, during the entire existence of the war, you would think, especially knowing how the propaganda machine works, and knowing that, especially back in the 30s and 40s, Hollywood was pretty openly controlled by the 6Js that founded it, or one of their family members. There wasn't the illusion of variety that exists today. It was very much they control Hollywood. So you would assume that during the whole war campaign bullshit, there would have been all kinds of propaganda videos made about what was happening, docudrama kind of movies and, stories and multiple examples of a bad guy similar to Hitler and all this other shit. You'd think that would be the pretty obvious Hollywood history. They made two movies. Two movies were made out of Hollywood. Two movies were made about the whole situation. And those two movies were made by Goyim. They weren't even made by Jays. The Jays, afterward, all those studio heads went to Germany and had a secret meeting where they decided, I guess, how they were going to approach this thing from here on out. And they created the whole Holocaust narrative. It didn't exist. Nobody was talking about all these missing people. And the thing is, you know what the best part is? It's just like when it comes to slavery. I say I don't believe in slavery. You know who gets mad at me more than anybody? Black people. Why do black people get mad at me when I say I don't believe that they were dumb enough and weak enough to be slaves? To completely outnumber the slave master society and still be slaves for hundreds of years? I don't believe it, and I'm the bad guy, right? Well, it's the same thing with the Handy Sook situation, right? Isn't the much better narrative that it was just a big lie, a big false flag operation, and that no children were actually killed? Isn't that better? Talk about manipulation. It's the same thing as how you've been convinced that saying that one group of people has all the money, the power, and the control, that's somehow a slur. How is that a bad thing? The only way it's a bad thing is if you secretly control things and you keep things bad because you enjoy the suffering of others. Because if we can actually put blame to why things are so fucked up, then we can feasibly, theoretically, we could fix it, right? But to cry when somebody says that, you people have all this money, you who make up 0.183% of the world's population and 2 to 3% of the US population, you people in your small tiny numbers, you have all of the money and the power and the control. For anyone to get upset at that statement is just fucking silly. You should be like, yes, thank you very much. We do, we worked hard. We did a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but when you compare that to negative stereotypes about white people, black people, Asians, whatever, they don't saying that's a compliment. All the money, the power, and the control. Want to see something interesting? This is one of my favorite videos. People will say, "Oh, well, they're white. What are you talking about? Those are white people. Okay. Let's see. So this is Morgan Freeman talking to Mike Wallace about Black History Month. You really have to listen to what's said, but what isn't said is just as important. Listen to this interesting thing. Not this.
Doug.
I hate these fucking
Are you here for Tracy?
We're here for
Okay. I don't own any of this, by the
Black
way.
History Month. You find ridiculous. Why?
Okay, so just right there. Black History Month, you find that ridiculous. Why? You stupid ass, you should be grateful. Why would you? We gave you a whole month. Yeah, it's the coldest month. Yeah, it's the shittiest month. Yeah, it's the shortest month. But we gave you an entire month. Why aren't you just grateful, you dumb goyim? Is basically the attitude. Mike Wallace, only white man ever make me moist. But just the disrespect, just right off the bat. Now listen to what Morgan Freeman says.
Relegate my history to a month? Oh, come on. What do you do with yours?
You're gonna regulate my history to a month? Oh, come on, he says. Oh, come on. Come on. You dumb black goyim. Come on. And it's a good point. You're gonna regulate my history to a month? We get a month? Matter of fact, there is no black history. It's just history. The fact that it's separated like that is what perpetuates racism. But listen to how this keeps going. This gets better.
Which month is White History Month? No, come on.
Okay, so which month is White History Month? Now you see Mike Wallace gets all uncomfortable. And he's like, literally it's like 4 or 5 seconds of dead. Like, this is a seasoned interviewer. He shouldn't be able to be thrown off even a little bit. And he knows the topic of the conversation. But Morgan says, what about White History Month? Watch. This is just
a month? Oh, come on. What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? I'm Jewish. Okay. Which month is Jew?
The fact that Morgan Freeman called him white bugged the shit out of him. He's a seasoned journalist. He's just supposed to go with it. But the idea that you referred to him as a white man, it bothered him so much he broke character. He had to be like, well, let me correct you, all right? Because, we're not supposed to separate ourselves. You can't identify me as that. But I am not going to be identified as a white man.
Oh, come on. What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? I'm Jewish. Okay. Which month is Jewish History Month? There isn't one. Oh. Why not? Do you want one? No. I don't either.
Rest of it, I don't care about. Did you just see what happened? First of all, he can't just be identified as a white man. And when asked, well, do you want a J History Month? He goes, no. When Morgan said he doesn't want a Black History Month, it's like, oh, come on. What are you talking about? But the idea of a J History Month is no. Do you realize, like, what that is? It's right there in front of you. Again, it's like your Bible. Your Bible that tells you, hey, dumb goyim, Gentile, just be happy with what you have. Don't look at your neighbor's TV and be like, hey, that's a really nice TV. I need a new TV, so I might get one just like that. Don't be coveting thy neighbor's goods. Don't you want what they have? Those are chosen. They're supposed to have that. You're a goyim. Be happy with what you have. Don't worry. When you die, then you get the chosen life. You get to go up to heaven and hang out with Jimi Hendrix and shit? Could you imagine how sick of people Jimi Hendrix is if he's up in heaven? It's probably not. I mean, nobody is. Everybody's broken the rules they knew they weren't supposed to break. It's literally impossible. How do you stop yourself from having impure thoughts? What about your nocturnal emissions? Alhamdulillah. Shit's just as goofy. Islam is just as goofy as Christianity is. It's literally like identical. Just the names are changed, the stories changed a little bit, but it's all the same bullshit. And all three, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, are considered the Abrahamic religions. Who is Abraham? Abraham is the main bad guy in the Bible. It's not Satan. Satan's a secondary character compared to Abraham. Abraham is the father of the J people. And all three books are considered Abrahamic. Of all things, it's Abrahamic. First class ticket to hell. It's all just bullshit, man. It's all just bullshit. I'll tell you honestly, you convinced me. I've already come to a similar conclusion on my own, but you were the one who pointed things out that reinforced those realizations of mine. I am with you. Right on. Right on. Karen, what's up? Big Abe is a major protagonist there. Only a government actor would source out this chat that they disagree with and waste their time. You know why you getting paid. Yeah, that's me. Why is this person allowed to breathe, says somebody. Gee, I wonder who they are. I wonder if they're a dumb J. Why is this person allowed to breathe? He's talking about things that Goyim aren't supposed to talk about. Like I was saying, you would think if anybody would want to be like, that Holocaust narrative isn't true. No, we weren't dumb enough to put armbands on and put on little badges that identified us so that we could be taken away. Why would they ever do that? The government comes through and is like, hey, you got to put on these arm badges if you're this one specific thing. I know a lot of you people have been disappearing, but here, and you're like, okay, I'm going to wear it. This is a proud symbol of who I am. If it came down to, we're going to kill everybody that's not a Christian, me and my family would be the first ones to be like, God is great, God is good, let us thank him for our food. Amen. I'd say anything I could to keep my children safe. To think that these people are like, I'm so proud of who I am that I'm going to allow myself to be killed just so I don't pretend I'm something else to get through it. Like, what kind of good parent wouldn't lie to ensure their kid's survival? Pretend you're not for today. Be like, no, I'm Italian. That's why I look like this. Get the fuck out of there. Who is going to wear an armband? They're so commonplace. They're so non-Semitic looking. They blend in so well, they had to have armbands to identify themselves. And they fucking did it. Do you know how stupid that is? And again, these are going to be just like bits and pieces of information that you're going to attack me for. You're not going to debunk it. You're not going to prove what I'm saying wrong in any sort of way. I just shouldn't be saying these things, right? That's a whole lot of hate going on. No oxygen for you, bro. A bit extreme, he thinks. They're all getting paid to be in your chat and say you are anti-Semitic. Of course. That's what we showed earlier. I literally showed you guys what Team Jorge and act.il is. Act.il. Act.il represents the payment, represents the people getting paid. Act.il is the like, it's the conspiracy. I mean, that's all it is. It's a conspiracy. Act.il directed its users to, quote, missions to like, comment on, and share pro-Israel material on social media. It also asks users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Israel. Users were guided how to respond, which might entail writing a reply using the provided talking points. Why wouldn't it just be like, tell the truth? Why would they need to be guided on how to respond and given talking points if what motivates them is truth? Is the righteous, is the good thing, is the all that. They wouldn't be needed to, wouldn't be needing a script, especially if they grew up in the community and like they've been surrounded by it. So they should know all of the things. And the funniest thing is, it's not like any of them ever come out with explanations or, engagements in the conversation. They never talk about their belief structure. They never talk about all the things that I talk about. They're always trying to change the subject to provided talking points. If what you believe is the truth, why wouldn't you want to talk about it? That's such a big piece in this, and I'm sure it's the first time I've said it. But you have to see, like, what is going on here. If what they were saying, if what they believed, if their whole structure of who they are and what they were doing, the whole Gaza situation, if that was good, if that was righteous, they wouldn't need to be instructed on how to respond to criticisms. That's a sales pitch. Right? Provided talking points. They also provided users with ready-made memes promoting Israel's perspective for them to share. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. Unlocked badges is prizes. What's under the badge? Oh, a trip here. Oh, a thing there. Or, oh, a new car this. These are the badges that get unlocked. They turned trolling someone like me into a real-life video game with real-life prizes. And they gave them the buttons to push, right? They provided them with the talking points. None of them come on here and talk about their belief structure isn't a psychopathic, pedophilic belief structure. They don't talk about anything that has to do with their belief structure. They don't talk about Israel. They don't defend it in any way. None of those talking points are like, well, tell them about how we did this that was good, or how we did that was good. It's never, ever that shit. It's always just the crybaby shit. The Jazz profile has been here for weeks. Hates me so much, but watches me for hours on end, day after day. Because it makes sense and doesn't actually address anything I'm saying. Just this idea of like, I love the idea that we're not supposed to hate things. Who do you think benefited from the PC movement the most? Black people still have all sorts of discrimination they deal with. Women still dealing with the same sort of bullshit, women rights bullshit. It's better than it was, but it's definitely not mixed. It's not fixed. But I know one group that has come out of it completely able to do whatever they want without us even talking about it. We don't think it's okay to even talk about it. How do you think that works? You know, how do you think that was just accidental? It just happened to work out that way? It's getting to the point where it's like, it's gotten to the point where it's hard for me to even watch TV. I had on the Dick Van Dyke Show last night, and the episode was specifically about how Maury never got bar mitzvahed or something like that. I can't remember which one it was. But the whole episode is about, you know, the last like 10 minutes is all about Jay propaganda. He's reciting verses that who knows what the fuck they know what the fuck is being said. I don't know what's being said. Their rituals are shown to us, normalized to us, and the importance of it is stressed immensely. It's weird too. They have the big, you know, clergy style yarmulkes back then. They didn't have the small ones with the clips. They had the ones that look like the same ones the clergy wears, except theirs were black. Well, they could have been black. I don't know. It's black and white. The other day, I'm watching The Wonder Years with my kids. I bought the box set, and we've been watching it. And one of the an entire episode was dedicated to Paul's bar mitzvah. And several few minutes of it, I assume those same prayers were actually recited. And I know the whole ceremony is a much longer ceremony, but it seems like it's the second time that exact thing has been shown to me. And you think like, so that's to appease 1 to 2% of the 2 to 3% of or 2 to 3% of the population, of which, you know, how many people were watching that? How many is this a? It's hard to say. Like, you know, are these big shows in those communities? Because a lot of it is based on their kind of humor. All the characters, like Roseanne. Roseanne is the, you know, personification of. It's supposed to be white trash, but they had a huge house. They had a huge house, a garage. You know, Dan started businesses and, you know, the repair shop and like, but they were supposed to be like the definition of white trash. And everybody in that show, except for the guy with the most J name of them all, John Goodman, was a J. Every single one of them. J's playing white trash. The whole redneck personality was literally created by them. Just like the thug personality was created by them, it just wasn't personified by them. Unless you're talking about bitch-ass Michael Rappaport. Oh, what I wouldn't give to have a debate with that guy on TV. That dude is a piece of shit. And towards the beginning of the genocide, he was all over. The last thing I saw of him is he released this video where apparently he's in Tel Aviv or in Israel somewhere, and he's singing this song, if you hate Jays and you know it, say Zionist. If you hate Jays and you're too scared to show it, say Zionist. Or no, if you hate Jays and you know it, say Zionist. Hate Jays and you know it. If you hate Jays and you know it, but you're too scared but you're too afraid to show it. If you hate Jays and you know it, say Zionist. And then he laughs, ha 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 ha, and he shows like turns his phone out and he shows that he's on this balcony overlooking Israeli shores or some shit. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting that you have guys like Rappaport, John Lovitz, Jerry Seinfeld, you know, coming out, like going out of their way to support what is a genocide. Like, it's no secret to pretend like that, like the Jays are somehow the victims or the rightful owners of the land because the Bible they gave us said so, or some, like any of it. To be somebody that comes out and be like, yeah, it's okay that they're killing people. It's okay. Those people deserve it because they're not us. And it's guys like that, it's spokespeople like that that have made it all about, like, it's so strange how everybody on the opposite side, on my side of things, is basically saying, you know, see if they come back and pick that shit up. They're really not gonna pick up that big piece of glass that just dropped. Motherfuckers. Yeah, it's just so fucked up. It's so fucked up that these people come out and they're applauding it. Like they're, you know, remember that supposed attack that happened that just disappeared? I totally forgot about that actually until right now. Where supposedly there was the group of Jays were protesting for more genocide apparently. And the guy walks up to them with Molotov cocktails and throws them. Like, you want to cause a problem, but you're gonna throw Molotov cocktails at people? Like, what sense does that make? It's always something goofy like that. Like, if that guy would have came with a gun and he could have just shot a bunch of people, that would have been a tragedy. It would have been, well, you know. And they said it was like 4 people were injured, 2 men and 2 women, and you know, that yada yada. And then he was, but that story just disappeared. Where'd that story go? Do you guys remember the riverboat brawl? Where one of the most disgusting things I've seen in a long time was the idea that the folding chair became a symbol of black this or that. The folding chair that was used to hit the woman that was defenseless sitting on the ground in the situation that was just embarrassing on all sides, but especially the black side of it. The way black people handled that situation and responded and you know, again, started hitting people with chairs. That's fucked up, but
I hit a motherfucker with a chair.
I know you did, baby. I know you did. But the crazy part was that the narrative was given to us.
Hitting people with the chair wasn't the crazy part?
No, it really wasn't. Because the crazy part is that this was something we were all supposed to care about until I assume other people started saying it too. I couldn't have been the only one that noticed what the names were of the white people. And the names were like a Berg and a, you know. And when you think about the narrative you're given, that this wasn't the first time, these guys have been doing this for years, where they thought they were so entitled they could park where the cruise ship parks. And they knew what they were doing, and then they picked a fight with the old black. Like, who else is going to do that shit to begin with? But when it came out, when I started saying it, and I would assume other people did too, that, hey, notice that guy's name. Notice everyone's name. Notice, you know, if they were Muslims, it would have been all over the place. If they were Christians, you would know it because they would report it. The fact that they were Jays made the story disappear. Your whole narrative is completely manufactured. Until you realize like what you think, what you believe, this is my beliefs, that's all manufactured for you. You're never gonna move past it. Do you really think that on October 7th, 2023, Hamas used paragliders to bypass what would be the most, the biggest, strongest, most badass security system in the region, with cameras everywhere and defenses everywhere? They picked like the spot that they picked happened to be like the worst area for them to do it feasibly. There were more defenses in that area, more cameras in that area, more everything, more military is supposed to be stationed in that area than anything. All of it failed that day. But Hamas supposedly used paragliders to bypass the air defenses. And when everybody started laughing at how stupid that is, how ridiculous that is, well, Hamas posted on Hamas.com or Facebook.com/Hamas videos, I guess. I don't fucking know where Hamas, I don't even understand how anyone in that region even has cell phone service anymore with what Israel has done. But I don't know where Hamas uploads videos. That whole thing is really interesting to me. But Hamas uploads a video that they happen to take of themselves landing paragliders. They film themselves landing paragliders, training for the mission, and they uploaded that video because people weren't believing Israel's narrative, because the narrative only comes from Israel. People weren't believing Israel's narrative, so Hamas wanted to make sure people believed it, so they uploaded that video. Do you understand how stupid you have to be to believe that? How much you have to want to believe in the narrative to believe such a dumb-ass narrative? At the very least, if people aren't buying Israel's narrative of it, that still, even if it's true, it makes you look good that people aren't buying Israel's narrative. To think that you're going to be like, no, I want people to know that Hamas is capable of paraglider attacks. Hey, where'd they get those those paragliders from? We don't talk about that. The place is under a complete blockade, has been since forever. Again, just look up just go look up the Gaza flotilla, which is the 2010 version of Greta Thunberg, but worse. There's been a blockade. Nothing comes in. They're not even allowed to bring in lumber to rebuild what Israel destroys, because Israel says that lumber could be turned into weapons. So no lumber, no food, no medicine, no nothing. This situation has been going on so much longer than October 7th. The Gaza flotilla is something, that video of Naftali Bennett should be everywhere, because it just says so much. It acknowledges that Israel controls Wikipedia. It acknowledges that they have, not only do they control it, they want the Zionist perspective. He even brags about how they've manipulated the narrative regarding the Gaza flotilla story. And if you go look it up, even with Israel's best spin on it, it still makes them look like pieces of shit. It's still just an awful story. Well, they were forced to defend themselves while they were illegally boarding this vessel, and the people defended themselves against the pirates that were attacking them in the middle of the night. And because they defended themselves, Israel was forced to defend itself and killed 9 people, 6 of which were later found to be shot execution style. And in court, they were like, we had to defend ourselves, you know, and they got away with it because they had to defend themselves. They were being attacked while illegally boarding another country. You know, these ships were flying the French flags, so they were under French protection in international waters, but they were the victims. And I know that because I looked up Wikipedia's version of the Gaza flotilla, just like Naftali Bennett told me to do, and that's what it says. You know that from his perspective, from the Israeli perspective, the Wikipedia article is balanced and Zionist in nature. So when you read it and it makes Israel it's shameful that people believe that this is all new. Godless people goodless people on an overpopulated planet. Yeah. Sounds like a good goyim there, or well, that's Brian Yee, so I doubt it's a chosen. Like, you clearly don't know what's actually going on. I love when people you say that, but you're not gonna say what I'm wrong about. You'll say that kind of shit, but you won't be like, you're wrong about this because of this. Funny how it always works out that way. Keep using Wiki for your info. Wiki, right. So I'm using Wikipedia because you go ahead and tell me why this isn't a good reason to use Wikipedia. So glad you brought that up. IsraelNationalNews.com.
Moetzet Yesh, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged Instruction Day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
I came here to learn.
All right, so that's Naftali Bennett. That's former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. In 2010, when that was recorded, he was future Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. But that's a prime minister. That's a high-ranking Israeli operative at the time, who in 2019, between 2019 and 2022, Israel had 6 prime ministers. Any ally that gets as much money, or even a fraction of the money that the U.S. gives Israel, if their system was so broken that they had 6 prime ministers in 3 years, we would step in and try to mediate things. But it was Netanyahu's bitch ass. Then it was Benny Gantz. Then Netanyahu was put back in charge, bitch ass, punk ass Netanyahu. Then there was an election between Naftali Bennett and Netanyahu. Literally, the only thing they disagreed on was that Netanyahu believed that everyone in Israel, when 18, should do military service. And Naftali Bennett believed that's what the Goyim are for, to fight the fight. That's what the Americans are for. And that what they should do, what Israelis should do is go into yeshiva and have that government-paid trip around the world where they can do whatever they want, and they're supposedly studying whatever. But that was the obligation that Naftali Bennett ran on, and it was that difference that put him in office from June of 2021 to June of 2022, when he just decides to step down, and that's that guy that he was prime minister for a year. He decides to step down for no real given reason or anything like that. He just does. And when he does, a guy called Yair Lapid, who is such a prominent Israeli talking head that he was in the Where in the World is Osama bin Laden movie that Morgan Spurlock made all those years back. Yair Lapid has been an Israeli operative for a very long time. He takes over from June, and he takes over in public because I think Naftali Bennett is still the de facto prime minister behind the scenes. I'm not really sure how it all works out, but they are prime minister until November of that year, when under indictment Netanyahu, along with war criminals Bezalel Smotrich and Itmar Ben-Gvir and Avi Moaz, have the most openly supremacist coalition to ever exist, to ever be running in Israel, running under on the platform that they are going to retake the West Bank. They end up winning the election by a significant number. And even though Yair Lapid said there was corruption in place, the strength of Israel was more important than anything, so he was just going to step down and let Netanyahu take over. So then Netanyahu was prime minister again. And that was from 2019 to 2022. And so as far as credibility goes, like the high-ranking Israeli agent on IsraeliNationalNews.com, future prime minister, like checking all those boxes, says that Israel controls Wikipedia. Random doofus Team Jorge or act.il or something like that profile on my YouTube feed that doesn't denounce pedophilia, that doesn't denounce the genocide and J control and all that. The shit-talking profile on here should have more credibility than Naftali Bennett himself, right? We should listen to random person on here and not the prime minister guy. Jobs for the boys in rotation, they should be passing the relay stick. I really don't know how else to, like, if you could tell me what else you would require before you would maybe start acknowledging these things, like what other proof do you need? I literally have one of their highest ranking members telling you that this happens, but that's not enough for you? So what is it? What did you need, like a signed letter from Donald Trump before you'd believe it? Bro, they going after Hamas, who's using their own people as shields, and you clearly don't understand what. Oh yes, they're using their own people as shields. How are they using their own people as shields? Are they like picking them up Rambo style and running with them? The only people that have human shields is Israel. Israel's main military bases are dead smack in the middle of the town, surrounded by schools and hospitals. It's actually the definition of human shields. When you look at Gaza, the before and after pictures of Gaza, just the idea of Hamas to begin with. Hamas is an Israeli creation. Hamas is just the thing. It's an idea. It's not like it's a people. It's not like they have a fucking government or a military or anything like that. You make an exception for the terrorist attack on October 7th. No Israelis died on October 7th. No Israelis were arrested. And just like the Holocaust, What I'm saying is the good thing, right? You shouldn't want that your people died. The idea that it was just a false flag attack of some sort, that should be the thing you want to be the truth. And you should require proof to the contrary. And there is no proof that any Israelis died on October 7th, 2023, other than the list of names that the IDF gave us. All right. Over 1,600 people died. No, they didn't. The now claimed number is 1,139, but when it's reported, it's always 1,139 people in Israel died, which is not how Israelis refer to themselves. Israelis refer to themselves as Israelis. They would say 1,139 poor martyred Israelis. They would say something along those lines. They would never say people in Israel. But the thing is, initially they claimed that almost immediately they killed around 1,500 HAMAS in Israel. So when they claim things like 1,139 people died in Israel, well, that's true. It's just not Israelis. And you know it because, like, the main example is the lack of funerals. Jay's funerals trump everything. On October 21st, 2023, a Jay community leader here in Detroit was found stabbed to death in her front yard at like between 5:30 and 6:30 a.m. on October 21st, 2023. They initially tried to tie it to Hamas, and then they couldn't. And I told my wife, watch, when it turns out it was her boyfriend or whatever that did it, the story will disappear. Well, the story disappeared. Come to find out, her boyfriend, at some point, called the police and confessed that he thinks he might have done it. He can't remember, but he thinks he might have done it. Only to be completely hidden. You know, all of this didn't come out till much later. But his identity was withheld. All of this shit was hidden, and then he was given immunity because it was said that he took a double dose of his psych medication that he was on. He took a double dose that day and hit his weed pen 4 times, and that made him call the police and say he thinks he murdered his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend at the time, because they had just broken up. But they tried to put it on a black man called Michael Jackson Bolanos, who, free Michael Jackson Bolanos needs to be a hashtag that goes around. But Michael Jackson Bolanos was a bad dude. He was out committing crimes. He was out burglarizing things, looking for shit to break into and steal. He supposedly came across her dead body and was like, oh shit, dead white woman, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Nothing was stolen from her house. You know, her body itself, there was a big struggle that took place. She'd been stabbed multiple times. You stab somebody multiple times, you're gonna be covered in blood. He was picked up near the house at a certain time and had literally no blood on him other than what they said was 2 little microscopic dots on his black jacket that were only seen by the forensic scanatronics. And they tried to level all sorts of charges, hate crimes, and all this other shit they tried to put on him. And they couldn't. They couldn't make anything stick because obviously he didn't do it. Obviously the boyfriend did it, who was again given immunity, and when grilled by the defense, completely looked guilty. But that doesn't matter. He was Jay, he has immunity. When it was all said and done, they ended up giving Michael Jackson Bolanos. They found the only thing they could find him guilty of was lying to police, of which he was given a sentence of 18 months to 25 years. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Have you ever heard of somebody getting a sentence of 18 months to 25 fucking years for lying to police? Do you understand how insane that is? It's almost as insane as the fact that she was killed. She was found dead at between 5:30 and 6:30 a.m. on October 21st, 2023. The morning edition newspapers from October 22nd, 2023, talk about how beautiful her funeral was and that over 1,000 people attended it. Meaning, her funeral was had within hours of being found dead, murdered. No investigation, no autopsy. Somehow her death, if there was an investigation and an autopsy and a hole dug and a funeral, all of those things trumped anybody else that happened to have their shit set for that day. In Detroit, the murder log is so backed up that, the autopsies, they take a long time. Apparently, none of that mattered. And within a few hours of her death, over 1,000 people were able to make it to her funeral. What about all the relatives she has all over the world, especially in Israel? What about all of the community that she belongs to here? Why wouldn't any of them have wanted to go to her funeral? To think that that's even possible, to think it's possible to have somebody's funeral within hours of them being killed is just, it's stupid. It's not a believable narrative. When the synagogue shooting took place and 12 people were killed, it was on a Sunday for some reason. But on that Monday, 6 of the funerals took place, and on the Tuesday, the other 6 took place. All of that shit, just bypassing all protocols, and apparently able to be accommodated. Funeral homes are just, ready to accommodate 5 funerals. There are countless stories like that. And the thing is, Israel absolutely makes up narratives. They literally lie. Another great example of it is a guy called Hai, H-A-I, Shalain, S-H-A-U-L-A-I-N or L-I-A-N, can't remember. He was said to be the number one sort of thorn in the side protester guy in Israel when it came to masks, vaccines, COVID restrictions, all that stuff. He was that guy in Israel. And he was at a no mask rally where a whole bunch of people, I would assume, would be like, protesting, and their germs, their magic germs flying out everywhere. He was arrested at one of those rallies. He was taken to the prison, to the jail, whatever, immediately taken to the jail, where 2 days later, he was taken to the hospital with what ended up being like super COVID. Because 7 days later, on the Saturday, somehow this prisoner was allowed access to a phone or a computer or something where he posted a post saying he was too sick to talk or respond, but with some prayers and some medicine, he should be able to kick this in 2 to 3 weeks. However, if he doesn't, it's because the police poisoned him, and, you know, keep up the good fight. The next day he was dead, which was a Sunday. The following day was a Monday, where they were interviewing his brother who was on the way to the funeral. Now, this dude was this high-ranking protester guy, meaning a whole bunch of conspiracy theorists knew who he was and were backing him up. Nobody checked themselves into the hospital 2 days after he was arrested, and then died 8 days later with super COVID. So you would think he would have been like contagious and shit if 2 days later he was taken, but nope. Nobody else had the super COVID. Nobody made a big stink about his death. Nobody demanded an investigation into the fact this man said he was fucking poisoned and died. He was healthy, and 10 days later he was dead of COVID. How often did that happen in the COVID epidemic? Was that a common thing? No. But even better, you know, because he had his funeral the next day, of course, but even better was this is the number one protester guy. This is the number one thorn in the side. This is the number one problem for the system, right? Strangely, he has zero social media footprint. There are zero stories talking about him prior to his death. Not only does nobody give a shit and demand any sort of anything after the fact, he doesn't exist before the fact. It's a story, it's a narrative, it's a compilation of bullshit that they give us to make us think, you know, if they want to make you disappear and then kill you, you can even say you got poisoned and nothing's going to come of it. He was a reminder, but he was a creation. Israel does nothing but lie. Netanyahu has been claiming that Iran is weeks away from being able to build a bomb that they will absolutely use on not only Israel, but the United States as well. Iran just wants to bomb everybody. He's been saying this shit for 30 fucking plus years. And it's not true. It's never been true. Iran has never used a bomb on the United States like they keep claiming Iran is going to do. Iran. Persia.
Well, no, because the Persians don't want to be called Iranian.
I know. Iran is, it's like how...
They're not, they will say.
It's like how we call Japanese and we call the Japanese in Japan. They refer to themselves as Nippon. Japan is called Nippon. Germany, the Germans, they speak Deutsch. They are the Deutsch. Germany is Deutschland. And yet, why do we call it Germany? How does that, was it some sort of translation? Germany is easier to say?
But that's not what the hostess at the Townsend, she explained to me that not everybody from Iran is Persian. That it's only a percentage.
Yeah, well, not anybody from anywhere. I mean, there's lots of people that came in from other places.
Persia was only part of Iran. They were two different
Whatever.
countries, is basically what she was trying to explain.
Whatever.
And that Iran just ate up Persia and got rid of it, and it all became Iran.
Yeah, well, she was stupid.
She was Persian.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she knows it. She knows a narrative that she's been given. That doesn't mean it's true. And, you know, again, she wasn't the smartest. She was really, really. I'm just skipping over all. Oh, he's done. He's done. I wasn't giving him enough of his attention. Not giving him enough Semitism. I'm pretty sure Daniel handled you well, though. When it comes to religion, he's pretty good about things. Uh-oh. Daisy, get in the house. Daisy, come on. Come on, Daisy. Come on, Daisy. Come on, Daisy girl. Come on. Come on. Come on, let's go. Come on. Is somebody here? Hello? Hello? Come on, Daisy girl. Come on. Come on, Daisy. Come on. Come on, let's go. Come on. Ange, come here. Neighbor's dog got out. The door was actually closed and the gate's closed, so I'm not really sure how she got out.
Daisy, come on, let's go.
Yeah, but she'll listen to you. Stay here. No, it's open because I had it open.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because I went to try to get her in, but she wouldn't listen to me. You got something to say to me, boy?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning, Dad. That's what I had to say.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm in 15 years of research on this conflict, and I'm a history major, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Too bad you can't say anything more intelligent than that, huh? There's tons of videos of other info. Yep. See, again, you're just saying blanket stuff. For such a history major and somebody so well versed, you'd think you'd be able to say better things than this bullshit. But this is how this works, right? This is all you have. You know, I'm fixated on truth. I've done nothing but find the truth. Unlike you, though, I don't just believe it because I want to. I look at it, I scrutinize it. And if it doesn't stand up to scrutiny, well, it's probably not very real, is it? Make sure you text her, let her know, because, again, I'm not really sure. All of a sudden, I just saw her come out. Huh? Yeah, but how did she get out? The door was closed, the gate's closed.
The front door was just open.
No, it wasn't. She didn't.
No, it was. Just now it was. I had to go close it.
She didn't come out of the front door.
She must have.
She didn't.
Well, I have no idea.
Bro, yep, here we go. You're going to keep bragging about what you've done, but you can't say anything wrong, can you? This ain't in DMs. I can't send proof, right? Well, say something. Tell me what to look up. Let's see if you can come up with something better than, I can't do it. I can't do it. You would think if you're right and you're from that righteous side of things, there would be a plethora of proof. But you won't, right? Here we go. And you're a joke, Daniel. Yeah. right? This is the history major, done 15 years of research and blah, blah, blah. Can't stand to be questioned. Can't stand to be challenged. I'm supposedly wrong about stuff, but he just can't tell me which part I'm wrong about. You have a terrible attitude when talking. Yep, now my attitude stuff. DM me. Now I have to talk to you outside of this. Because you can't make a single argument without sending a video. You can't tell me what videos to look up. But I should be reaching out to you outside of here. Send you a DL or a DM. Right, gotcha. Not a bird. You want proof? I'll send videos. How about this? How about you do this real quick? How about you film yourself talking to the screen, right? And you make a quick video. You call it Guy Williams Sucks. You upload it to the thing where it's your face talking to the thing. And you say, okay, you're wrong about this, this, and this. I believe that you just give a real quick rundown. And then you come back here and you tell me, okay, go ahead and search Guy Williams Sucks. And then I'll look up your video and we'll watch it together on here. Just don't have any music playing like you guys like to do. But just have a straight up video doing exactly what I'm doing, where I'm talking directly to the screen. You could do that. Oh, now he doesn't care that much. Gosh, that is amazing. I care enough about you to watch you for hours, to beg for your attention, to let's talk outside of this. Let's DM each other and let's be buddies. I'll send you stuff. You're going to send me links and all this other stuff. But to make a real quick 5-minute video, well, you don't care that much. Funny how they always say the same things. Not spoon feeding everything I have. Watch you for years. I've been here in 10 minutes. Sure you have. Sure you have. Let's see. Joined 9 years ago. Has 1 subscriber. That's totally believable. That's totally believable. Angalaki! And Angalaki! Yeah, your friend's here.
Who's here? Who's here? Yeah, I'm trying to get out the door.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Bro, you want a conversation? Yeah, again, look at how much you're crying. Look at how much this dumb Jay is crying. This is how dumb they are. This is from the inbreeding, man. They talk a big gang, but then call them out on it, and they got nothing to say. Nothing. Just crybaby shit.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like a ninja. There's literally a video of an aid car being let in, then like 5 guys hop out in vests and they pull out guns. IDK, with social media you on? But there's not. That's not a video. I've literally looked up Hamas attacks Israel October 7th on video. And you can't find anything that's legitimate. There are 2 videos where they supposedly show some hostages, but these are just staged. These are just goofy. One video, some broad gets put in the back of a brand new SUV, all blacked out. She looks like she has poopy on her pants. Another one is there's 2 Jeeps that get brought through town. And the people are like, it's just such fake shit. But there's plenty of videos where like the from the festival where people are in their cars trying to get away from the gunfire, and they get out of their car and then run out into the open field. They don't stay in the car, they run out into the open field. No, I don't want to message you, you goofy ass. Oh, look at that, trying to be sexist now. You're not going to talk about the hostage that was released, talking about him being held in captive by an aid worker. Yeah, because, it's not like you can facilitate some fake bullshit at this point. It's not like they couldn't make fake videos at this point. Yeah, what about all the hostage videos where they're saluting the hostage takers, shaking their hands, hugging them? The one video where the hostage supposedly kisses his hostage taker. And what about all those videos? The whole narrative is fake and stupid. The fact that the same guy has been like the video hostage. He was one of the people filmed being kidnapped, and he's been the guy that's been allowed to document it the whole time. Like, it's just so stupid. The fact that there even are any hostages anymore is stupid. They should have been killed a long time ago. What about the skinny guy digging in his grave? That's not, of course it's not true. It's all fake bullshit. Yeah, it's fake. Like when the hostages, when Israel does this offensive where they kill like 270 some people because they were rescuing 4 hostages. And it just so happens to be that 3 of the hostages were being held in the family compound of this really prominent doctor in the community. Everybody loved him. He was a successful doctor. His son was a reporter for, it might have been Al Jazeera, but it might have just been an offshoot. His son had the day before published a scathing report of what Israel was doing. The next day, the Israelis came, kicked in the door. One of the family members hid with some of the children, like in a special hiding place, I guess, that they had, because, they all knew that this was in any day. Everybody in Palestine knows that this could happen any day. They came in, they kicked in the door, they shot his wife in the head in front of him, shot his father in the head in front of him, and then shot him. And then suddenly they produce, let's say 20 soldiers go in, well, 17 come out, and all of a sudden there's 3 hostages that were there that nobody knew about, that weren't chained down or weren't in, any dire circumstances, were well fed, were well taken care of, though they had, when you're talking about, this was in the beginning, when you're talking about the atrocities that the Israelis were committing, they would say things like, well, the hostages, that were just freed, they said that as punishment, huh?
They walked back down already?
Yeah. No, not this way. As punishment for one time, one of them was standing out in front of an open window, so he was made to lie in a bed for 2 days straight without talking to anyone. Another time, one of them washed their fucking dirty, nasty hands in the drinking water. They have drinking water and they have hand washing water. This piece of shit washes his hands in the drinking water, and as punishment is again made to lie in a bed, this time with a bunch of blankets on top of him, while it was really hot that day. In another situation, they said that that one of them, a female, a little J princess. What's up, duty? Morning. was made to wash dishes. She was made to wash the dishes. Not right now, I don't.
Send it to your friend and say no.
Sure. She was made to wash dishes. Can you believe that? They're complaining about being killed left and right and starved to death. Well, they made one of us wash dishes. And again, all four of these hostages look as fresh as the day they were captured. They still have their little jowls here, they're tan. The narrative they give is that, okay, so they were standing in front of an open window, meaning they had windows in their cell and they were allowed to walk around free. Their punishments meant that they had beds, they had blankets, they had water. They had to wash dishes, so they were fed. Like, these are the narratives that they give. These are the crybabies that they do. And this is the same kind of shit that is happening right. It's all just fake narrative bullshit. Everything that involves them is fake. It's bullshit. No hostages are going to walk out on a platform being a fat, healthy, and clean. Yeah. They're going to kiss the fucking hostage taker. Okay, so if you guys remember, about 2 weeks after the initial thing happened, one of the hostages or two of the hostages were released. And I can only assume it was either a strategic ploy so they could get this information out, or she was just so annoying they got rid of her. But it was a woman. It was an old woman. And when she got released, she turned around and shook the hand of her captor. And then when she was interviewed, she said that she was mistreated at first. And of course, you know how old people's bruises heal really quickly and don't turn into weird-ass strawberry-looking things, right? She had no marks on her, no bruises, no nothing, and it had only been like a week or 2 weeks tops. She said that she had gotten roughed up a little bit in the beginning, but she had been treated very well since, that they had been well taken care of, they were well fed, and that every single one of the elderly that were there had their own doctor assigned to them to make sure they got all the medications, their daily medications that they needed. While Israel is dropping bombs on civilian communities, hospitals, schools, all that shit, Hamas is supposedly so concerned about these Jays getting their medicine that each one has their own doctor assigned to them. And again, I assume it's to get that narrative out. That's why she was released. Because people like me always ask, what about the people that have like diabetes medication and worse, much worse. I don't even know like what kind of conditions people can have, but they need specific medications to survive. I'm sure if you say that you have 250 some hostages, which by the way, according to Candace Owens, Hamas, the narrative is that Israel did know that the attack was going to happen. They let it, like that's sort of the narrative that's in the community theory, like it's in the conspiracy theory community, but it's dumb. Israel did it. They didn't know it was going to happen. They did it. But Candace Owens says that a memo was released that Egypt had intercepted a transmission of Hamas saying that they were going to take 200 hostages. Do you know how stupid that is? You know how stupid that is to think that they would, they know what they're going to do and they put it out there like that. The whole narrative is just so terrible and so stupid and so indefensible. The expansion is another thing. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Everything is bullshit. No, everything that you're given is bullshit. It's all a design to distract you from what's really happening. And what's really happening is they believe that they should all have 2,800 Gentile slaves. And there's no way they could actually have 2,800 Gentile slaves, right? There's no way any individual J could control 2,800 people. But if you live this free life where you can travel, you have the nicest of everything, all the best foods, all the best clothing, you know, all the best opportunities come your way. Well, to facilitate that, does 2,800 seem like, you know, each one of them has 2,800 of us secretly working for them, whether it's they're taking our tax dollars or we happen to be one of the employees at the McDonald's they go to one time in their life on one of their travels. Whatever it is, the 2,800 slaves are there theoretically. Each one of them has 2,800 slaves. 2,800 goyim facilitate their free life. And the reality is, Hebrew is the youngest language on the planet, invented by Eliezer ben Yehuda in the early 1900s. Not revived, invented. And there's nobody alive to you know, to prove it otherwise. You can be told about all the scrolls and books and engravings and all the Hebrew, this, that. You don't get to see that shit. You don't know that shit. And if you do see it, you don't know what you're looking at. That could easily be a replica. You know they make props, right? With no follow-up attack structure plan, yeah, right? That's the best part, right? They did the whole October 7th thing, 5,000 rockets in 20 minutes. Attack this, attack that. Iran's backing them, blah, 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 and then nothing. They don't have a response to what is undoubtedly going to be a 100-fold response, which has happened. That's what they do. They respond way more. It's what's it called? Fuck. It actually has a name. Where if something happens to them, they respond tenfold as a deterrent mechanism. God, I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, I'm done. I'm beat. I can't believe I've done it this long. I feel like shit now. My day is ruined. Thanks a lot, guys. Have yourself a great day. Go get your free download. The links will be in the description. Go get your free download. www.the-bilderberg, bilderberg-group.com. It's free. All we ask is that you share it with someone. It'll ask you how much you want to pay. You can click 0 and it's free. Or you can donate. We appreciate the donations. There'll be a link to Hollywoodism, which is the greatest film ever made. The most important film ever made, I should say. Not the greatest, but the most important film ever made. And you should absolutely watch it. It explains everything that's going on right now. But from their perspective. They acknowledge that. At one point in Hollywoodism, one of the descendants of the Hollywood mogul says, essentially you could say the American dream is the Jewish dream. It's an astonishing watch. I highly suggest you watch it. I'm also going to leave you with 3 links to our music videos on Facebook. Go check those out. Go share them. Go like the page. Go do all that shit. Like, share, sub there. Make sure you like, share, and sub this, guys. Like, share, sub, help. Be a part of the fucking grassroots movement to elect me president in 2028. so we can rid ourselves of that fucking menace. That disgusting, disgusting menace. Have yourself a great day. And most importantly, as always, you pedophiles, you go ahead and kill yourself.